What happens when Thailand's most beautiful stars suddenly step out and say, "I'm LGBTQ+." In today's video, we'll uncover the real stories behind 12 Thai female celebrities who broke silence and embraced their true selves. From emotional confessions to unexpected Pride Month posts and bold interviews that shook social media, who shocked the nation? Who risked it all for love? Stay tuned and let's dive in. Engfa Waraha's journey is nothing short of extraordinary. Born in 1995 in Oaey Thani province, Thailand, she grew up surrounded by music and tradition. Her father, a skilled keyboardist, and her mother, a Luk Thung folk singer, filled their home with melodies and storytelling. From as young as 6, Engfa began performing on local stages, her voice echoing through village festivals. But life was far from easy. When she was just a teenager, her father was diagnosed with terminal cancer. Facing financial struggles, Engfa made a life-changing decision at 17. She signed a strict 12-year contract with a local entertainment company. To many, it seemed like she was trading her freedom for survival. But for Engfa, it was a necessary step to support her family. Her early career was a mix of modest success and quiet frustration. Between 2015 and 2016, she released a handful of singles, small footprints in the Thai music industry. Still, she kept fighting for her place in the spotlight, in a twist that surprised many fans later. Engfa also trained as a traditional Mortem Kwong, a ceremonial officiant who blesses Buddhist novices. It was a role rooted in spiritual discipline and deep cultural respect. While others saw pageants and pop charts as her future, Engfa was kneeling at temples, chanting sacred verses, and guiding young monks on their first steps into spiritual life. But destiny had other plans. In 2018, Engfa auditioned for Season 7 of The Voice Thailand. Her performances left judges stunned, and audiences wanted more. Unfortunately, contractual disputes forced her to withdraw, another setback in a career already marked by sacrifice. Yet, that didn't stop her. In 2022, Engfa captured national attention by winning Miss Grand Thailand, representing Bangkok with both charm and unfiltered honesty. On the international stage, she stood tall as first runner-up at Miss Grand International, winning hearts with her humor, relatability, and raw determination. Beyond pageantry, she soon transitioned into acting, landing a lead role in the 2022 LGBTQ-themed movie The Paradise of Thorns, a project that would become a turning point for her public image. Then came June 2024, Pride Month. Engfa took to Instagram and posted the words that would forever define her as more than just a beauty queen or singer. "Happy Pride Month, y'all. I am queer. May equality prevail in this world." The announcement sent waves through Thai media and ignited conversations among fans. For many in the LGBTQ+ community, especially in Thailand, where public figures often shy away from such declarations, Engfa's honesty felt like a breakthrough. She wasn't just playing a role on screen anymore. She was living her truth out loud and unapologetic. Today, Engfa Waraha stands as a symbol of resilience, authenticity, and hope. Her story reminds us that behind every crown, every spotlight, and every viral moment, there's a human being fighting for the right to simply be themselves. Charlotte Austin's story feels like a quiet revolution, unlike the confetti-filled Pride Month announcements we often see. Charlotte's coming out was not wrapped in bright colors or dramatic social media posts. It was tender, thoughtful, and deeply personal. In December 2024, during an emotional live talk at her solo event titled "Why in Pride Perspectives," she chose her moment, her words, and her truth. Standing alone on that stage, under soft golden lights, Charlotte looked at her audience. Thousands of fans who had followed her journey through acting, modeling, and countless interviews where she skillfully danced around personal questions. That night, there was no script, no carefully rehearsed lines, just Charlotte, holding a microphone with trembling hands, taking a long breath before saying, "People don't become gay, lesbian, or bisexual. They just simply fall in love with someone." It was not a label, not a political statement, but a raw human truth that left the room in stunned silence. And maybe that's what made it so powerful. For years, fans had speculated about her close friendships, her absence from traditional celebrity dating headlines, her subtle support for LGBTQ+ rights in interviews. But hearing it from her own mouth was something else entirely. Can you imagine sitting in that audience, watching someone you admire peel back the final layer of their public persona, exposing their most vulnerable self? How would you feel seeing a celebrity you followed for years finally say out loud what many had wondered in silence? Would it inspire you? Would it make you reflect on your own journey? For Charlotte, this was not about publicity. It was about reclaiming her narrative. Until that night, she had been cast in countless roles: sweetheart, rebel, fashion icon, but never the role that mattered most, herself. Her voice cracked as she spoke, but her message rang clear. Love does not ask for permission, and neither should identity. After the event, social media erupted with hashtags, fan letters, and emotional video reactions. Young fans wrote that her words gave them courage to come out to their own families. Others said they cried watching the clips replay online, feeling seen, heard, validated for the first time. And while Charlotte never gave herself a specific label that night, she left no doubt that she stood with and within the LGBTQ+ community. In a world where celebrity confessions often feel manufactured, Charlotte's vulnerability reminded everyone watching that authenticity still exists. Her story was not about shock value, but about quiet bravery. About the long, complicated path that leads someone to stand on a stage and speak their truth, even when their voice shakes. So, as you hear her story now, how does it make you feel? Does it remind you of someone in your life waiting for the right moment to speak their truth? Or maybe, does it make you wonder, what story are you still keeping inside? When people talk about Oaey Ponchanok Theerawan, they often mention her sharp gaze, her fearless acting choices, and that unmistakable aura of someone who has walked through storms and come out smiling. Long before the world caught on to the whispers surrounding her private life in 2024, Oaey had already made waves in Thailand's entertainment industry, not by playing it safe, but by embracing roles that challenged both herself and the audience. She didn't make loud declarations, but in every quiet choice, there was meaning. Her breakout performance in the acclaimed series Deep Blue Secrets wasn't just another credit on her resume, it was a statement. Oaey portrayed a woman torn between loyalty, grief, and forbidden love, and she brought a depth to the role that felt eerily personal. Critics called it hypnotic, but fans called it something more, honest. And as her popularity grew, so did the conversations. She wasn't just acting in sapphic roles, she was living in them, with a conviction that left audiences wondering, was this more than just performance? Across TikTok and fan pages, the clues were there. From her GL co-stars to her chemistry-laden behind-the-scenes clips, from cryptic, gender-neutral captions to fan edits that seemed just a little too real, Oaey never confirmed, but never denied. In Thailand, where public figures often hide behind silence, her openness in action, if not in words, became a quiet revolution. And maybe that's what made her so powerful, the way she let truth seep through the screen, without ever needing to label it. By mid-2024, her presence in queer-centered series like Gap the Series and Mate the Series, along with her subtle but consistent embrace of LGBTQ+ content on personal platforms, felt like a message in plain sight. There was no dramatic coming-out moment, no captioned confession, just a steady stream of roles, words, and actions that told fans, I see you, I'm with you. And honestly, isn't that a kind of visibility that speaks louder than hashtags? Oaey's story reminds us that not all courage is loud. Sometimes it's in the silence, the glances, the stories you choose to tell on screen. In a world that demands labels, she gave us something rarer, sincerity. Her journey makes us ask, how many other actors are walking this delicate line between performance and reality? And how many young fans, quietly watching from their rooms, found comfort in her portrayal of love without boundaries? If you've ever felt seen through her work, if her roles ever gave you the courage to imagine a different kind of love story, then maybe that's all the confirmation that truly matters. Because sometimes, representation doesn't arrive in a headline. It arrives in a feeling. And Oaey's story made you pause, reflect, or feel something real. Stick around, because here on this channel, we're just getting started with voices that deserve to be heard. Sonya Saranphat has never said the words. She hasn't posted a rainbow flag. She hasn't given an interview where she claimed a label. But somehow, she became one of the most quietly powerful figures in Thailand's GL movement. Her journey into the queer spotlight didn't begin with a statement. It began with a role. In 2023, Sonya took on a character in the GL series Whispers of Her, a young woman struggling with the reality of falling for her best friend. The performance wasn't just good, it was honest, raw. Every moment between her and her co-star simmered with real emotion. It felt unscripted, lived in. And that's when the questions began. Was this just acting? Or was there something more? Her chemistry on screen wasn't the kind you could fake. It lingered in the pauses, in the way she looked at her scene partner when the camera wasn't supposed to be watching. Fans noticed, and the internet followed. Edits of her scenes trended on TikTok. Tumblr blogs poured over her body language. Fan pages flooded Instagram with theories, timelines, and hope. They weren't just shipping a fictional couple. They were watching, searching for signs that this wasn't just a performance, that maybe Sonya was one of them. But Sonya never confirmed, never denied. She never leaned into the speculation for clicks, nor distanced herself from it. Instead, she remained gracefully neutral, posting behind-the-scenes clips with her co-stars, attending pride-themed events, posing in rainbow-toned fashion editorials. She let the art speak for itself, and that silence, instead of creating distance, somehow brought her closer to her fans. Because in a world where every part of a celebrity's life is scrutinized, Sonya's quiet refusal to define herself felt like its own kind of truth. By 2025, Sonya still hadn't come out. No livestream confession, no press release. But for countless LGBTQ+ viewers, she had already become a mirror, a symbol of what it means to exist in between private and public, character and person, silence and pride. And maybe that's why people keep watching her so closely. Because even if she never says it, she makes people feel seen. Her performances have become a kind of safe space. For those not ready to speak, for those who may never speak. And in a culture that still struggles to embrace fluid identities, sometimes just seeing someone live unapologetically, gently, and without explanation is enough to give others courage. So maybe the question isn't, is she? Maybe the real question is, how many people out there needed someone like Sonya before they could even start asking that about themselves? And if her story, even without labels, made you feel understood, or just a little less alone, then go ahead, share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us what her journey meant to you. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that give voice to what often goes unsaid. Because here, we don't just tell stories, we tell your stories too. Lux Sulax's coming out story wasn't just another Instagram post buried in a sea of Pride Month celebrations. It was a bold, emotional declaration that shook the Thai entertainment industry and sent waves across LGBTQ+ communities all over Asia. On that June day in 2024, Lux didn't hide behind vague captions or cryptic emojis. Instead, she faced the camera with steady eyes, a calm but powerful voice, and said, "Happy Pride Month, y'all. I am queer. May equality prevail in this world." It was raw, it was honest, and for many, it was exactly the kind of representation they had been waiting for. The moment felt like more than a statement. It felt like history. For years, fans had loved her for her fearless style, her striking features, and her unfiltered, sometimes rebellious attitude. On screen, Lux brought characters to life with unmatched energy. Off screen, she was the cool girl who didn't care for rules. Blue streaks in her hair, oversized boots at red carpet events, captions that spoke her mind. But deep down, she had been carrying a truth she hadn't fully shared with the world. This wasn't just about social media visibility. It was about reclaiming her narrative in an industry where LGBTQ+ identities were still whispered about behind closed doors. By coming out, Lux wasn't just changing her life, she was shifting the conversation in Thai showbiz. Her breakthrough role in the GL drama Gap the series had already placed her at the center of LGBTQ+ fan culture. Viewers had shipped her with her female co-stars, creating endless fan edits and online discussions about her off-screen chemistry. Yet Lux had remained quiet, always playful in interviews, but never giving too much away. That made her 2024 announcement even more powerful. Suddenly, past interviews took on new meaning. Her choice of roles felt braver. Her red carpet looks felt more intentional. Every smile at the camera now carried layers of pride and defiance. Fans didn't just see a celebrity, they saw someone finally stepping fully into her truth. The public's reaction was immediate and overwhelming. Social media exploded with hashtags. Fan art flooded Twitter and Instagram within hours. Young LGBTQ+ fans across Thailand and beyond began sharing their own coming-out journeys, saying Lux had given them the courage to do so. Comments like, "Seeing you live openly makes me feel less alone," became common under her posts. But Lux didn't stop at being a symbol. She leaned in, using her voice to advocate for LGBTQ+ rights, showing up at Pride events and speaking out about representation in media. Her upcoming GL movie, My Ex's Wedding, scheduled for release on October 20th, 2024, is already seen as a landmark moment, not just for Thai cinema, but for queer visibility in mainstream Asian film. In a world where many still feel they have to hide, Lux Sulax chose to stand tall, loud, and proud. And by doing that, she's inspiring a new generation to believe that their identity is something to celebrate, not something to fear. So how did Lux's story make you feel? Have you ever had a moment where someone else's courage helped unlock your own? Or maybe this is the sign you've been waiting for, to live a little louder, love a little freer, and own your story, just like Lux. Kornnaphat Sethratanapong. There are some celebrities whose silence is more telling than any statement. Kornnaphat Sethratanapong, affectionately known as Orm to her fans, is one of them. Born into Thailand's booming entertainment scene, Orm first came to the nation's attention through her work in teen dramas and fashion campaigns. With her high cheekbones, cropped hair, and genderless style, she defied expectations of what a Thai female celebrity should look like. While her peers embraced sweetness and sparkle, Orm leaned toward something bolder, something completely different. Her breakthrough came in 2022 with Glass Wings, a drama in which she plays a stoic artist caught in a love triangle between a man and a woman. But fans weren't talking about the male lead. It was about the chemistry between Orm and her female co-star. The looks, the tension, the quiet tenderness. Online communities exploded with speculation. Was it all acting, or was Orm telling a story much closer to home? Soon, fans began revisiting her past interviews, her Instagram captions, her red carpet appearances. There were rainbow motifs, vague reminders of loving people, not genders, and a constant eschewing of traditional labels. But never, not once, did she speak directly about her sexuality. That silence, rather than dulling the conversation, made it louder. The media remained respectful. Orm was too calm, too sharp to be cornered by rumors. But the fans, they connected the dots. Her following grew in the LGBTQ+ community, especially among queer women and non-binary teens who saw themselves reflected in her quiet defiance. Her style became iconic. Blazers over crop tops, combat boots with silk dresses, barefaced confidence paired with unedited captions. She became an accidental icon, someone who never asked for the role, but who still embodied it with grace. As of 2025, Kornnaphat Sethratanapong has yet to make any official statements about her sexuality. And maybe she doesn't need to. In a world that demands clarity, Orm brings complexity. She doesn't fit the mold, and she doesn't help anyone build them. For many fans, that's not a frustration, it's a liberation. Because what if queerness doesn't always look like a rainbow headline or a post? What if it's the way someone dares to exist in full color, in a world of gray? So here's the real question. Does Orm ever need to say anything? when her presence speaks so much to so many? If you felt seen, inspired, or even just curious while watching her journey unfold, let us know what that means to you. And if you believe stories like Orm's, subtle, nuanced, powerful, deserve a place in the spotlight, don't forget to drop a love note, because sometimes the most important truths are the ones we feel, even if they're never said. Ling Kwong has always been a force of nature. Long before her brave coming out in 2025, she had already carved a space for herself in Thailand's entertainment landscape. Loud, unfiltered, and unapologetically hilarious. Born in 1997, Ling built her brand on raw authenticity. Her comedy sketches, viral reaction videos, and no-holds-barred interviews made her one of the country's most recognizable online personalities. From daytime variety shows to red carpet appearances, she was everywhere. Fans loved her for her humor, but few realized how much of that humor had been a shield. As her career skyrocketed, so did the expectations. Behind the laughter, there were long nights of doubt. Ling often wondered, would coming out mean risking everything she worked for? The sponsorship deals, the TV bookings, the millions of followers. What would happen if she finally spoke her truth? But hiding came at a cost. Behind the camera, there were tears, missed opportunities to love openly, and moments when she looked in the mirror, wondering if she'd ever get to fully live as herself. Then came October 2024. No studio lights, no rehearsed statement, just Ling, holding her phone, her face bare, her voice steady. In a short, heartfelt video posted to Instagram and later echoed across TikTok, she looked straight into the lens and said, "Good news it is. Same-sex marriage." She didn't say it with drama, she didn't need to. In those few words, her support for LGBTQ+ rights was unmistakable and deeply personal. That same week, another TikTok video surfaced where she quietly admitted, "I like girls." No hashtag, no filter, just honesty, and that made it louder than any headline. Within hours, her video flooded social media timelines across Thailand. The hashtag Ling coming out trended for days. Fans filled her comments with rainbow flags, heartfelt confessions, and messages like, "You've given me the courage to come out too." News outlets picked up the story. Fellow LGBTQ+ celebrities reposted her video, calling her a trailblazer. For many queer women in Thailand, Ling became something they had rarely seen before. A high-profile lesbian celebrity living loudly, proudly, and without apology. But Ling didn't stop at making a statement. She leaned in. In interviews, she spoke candidly about her fears, the years of pretending, and the joy she felt waking up the next day, finally free. Brands that truly supported LGBTQ+ voices stood by her. She became a guest speaker at Pride events. Her content shifted, not losing its signature humor, but now woven with moments of vulnerability, love, and real LGBTQ+ advocacy. Her career, it soared even higher. Variety show hosts invited her to talk about her journey. Major fashion brands booked her for Pride campaigns. She became more than just a comedian or influencer. She became a symbol of courage and representation. Through every joke, every skit, and every candid Instagram post, Ling now stands as a reminder that visibility matters. That being true to yourself is worth the risk. So how does her story make you feel? Have you ever stood at the edge of your own truth, wondering if it was time to jump? If Ling's journey stirred something in you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Rainbow Vibes, and join us for more powerful, human, and unapologetically queer stories from Thailand and beyond. Mim, Rattanawadee Wongthong, known to fans simply as Mim, is not someone who seeks attention through noise. Born in 2004, she entered the Thai entertainment scene with an aura that felt rare, quiet, self-assured, and refreshingly subtle. While others chased hashtags and social media algorithms, Mim built her career brick by brick, choosing authenticity over virality. With her soft gaze and calm presence, she became a symbol of understated power, someone who didn't need to shout to be heard. Her silence spoke volumes, and somehow fans leaned in closer just to understand what she wasn't saying. By 2024, Mim was no longer just a rising star. She had become a quiet force. That year, she landed a lead role in Us, a sapphic drama that tackled love between women with nuance and sincerity. Her portrayal was tender, layered, and deeply affecting, earning praise from LGBTQ+ audiences across Thailand and beyond. In 2025, she returned to the genre with Sweet Tooth, Good Dentist, another girls' love series that positioned her as one of the most compelling young actresses to explore queer stories on screen. And yet, she never said a word about her own identity. No declarations, no interviews, no social media statements, just the work and the emotions it carried. Speculation followed her like a soft shadow. Fan pages poured over every scene, searching for hidden meaning in every glance, every pause, every line delivered just a little too softly. Queer forums lit up with screenshots and heartfelt theories. Was Mim drawing from personal experience? Was she a quiet ally, or quietly living her truth? But despite the rising curiosity, Mim remained private. She didn't confirm. She didn't deny. And perhaps that's what made her presence all the more powerful. In an industry where oversharing is often currency, Mim reminded us that silence, when intentional, can be just as loud as a public confession. As of 2025, Mim has not publicly identified as lesbian or as part of the LGBTQ+ community. No press interviews, no social media reveals, nothing official. Yet, through the characters she's chosen to embody, she's given life to stories rarely seen in Thai media. She's portrayed queer love with dignity, with respect, with aching vulnerability. And for thousands of fans who saw themselves reflected in her work, that meant everything. Whether or not Mim ever chooses to label herself isn't the point. What matters is the visibility she's created and the emotional space she's opened for people who often feel invisible. Mim's story is not about headlines or hashtags. It's about presence, about representation, about using art as a bridge toward understanding. She may not have said the words out loud, but through every role she's taken, she's shown us this. Sometimes, the boldest statements are the ones whispered with purpose and love. Namtan. There are roles that entertain, and then there are roles that echo. For Tipnaree Weerawatnodom, affectionately known as Namtan, 2024 marked a moment where art and identity blurred in the most powerful way. Her portrayal of Ling in the sapphic sci-fi drama Pluto didn't just shift her career, it shifted culture. In a world ruled by silence and fear, her character chose forbidden love. And in doing so, she spoke to millions who had never seen themselves reflected on screen. And isn't that the power of representation? When one performance can feel like someone finally saying, "I see you?" Before Pluto, Namtan's resume sparkled with sweetness. Rom-coms, teen dramas, wholesome endorsements. She had the image of the perfect Thai sweetheart, but Pluto demanded something more raw, more honest. Her scenes with co-star Rattanawadee were electric, filled with quiet tension, stolen glances, the kind of longing that only comes from truth hiding beneath the surface. And fans felt it. It wasn't overacted or performative, it was vulnerable. The kind of vulnerability you can't fake. The response? Unstoppable. Fans began asking, was Namtan simply a great actress, or was she sharing a part of herself on screen? Though she never explicitly labeled her sexuality, Namtan made subtle choices that spoke volumes. She reposted fan art from sapphic creators. She attended pride-adjacent events without fanfare. She spoke in interviews about the importance of telling stories that matter to marginalized voices. In a region where many public figures avoid anything controversial, her quiet alignment with LGBTQ+ storytelling felt like a statement. Not shouted, but undeniably heard. By 2025, she remains private. No declarations, no confessions. And yet her silence isn't cold. It's deliberate. It protects something sacred. Because maybe the truth isn't in a headline, it's in how she shows up, unapologetically, for the stories that need her. And when a young queer girl in Bangkok finishes watching Pluto, eyes full of tears, heart suddenly beating faster with recognition, isn't that the most honest kind of visibility? How many lives did Namtan change without ever having to say a single word? If her performance in Pluto stirred something inside you, it made you feel seen or brave or simply understood, then maybe that's her greatest gift, not just acting, but healing. Because for so many who've never had the chance to love freely or to see their stories told with tenderness, Lin's journey wasn't fiction. It was reflection. It was recognition. Maybe you saw yourself in those quiet scenes of resistance, or in the way Lin dared to love, even when the world said no. Maybe, for the first time, you didn't feel so alone. And that matters more than words ever could. So tell us, what did Lin's story mean to you? Did it give you courage? Did it help you forgive yourself? Or maybe it simply reminded you that your feelings are valid. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read every one. And if you believe in the power of representation like this, support the voices who make it possible. Subscribe to our channel, hit like, and share the story with someone who deserves to feel a little more seen today. Because sometimes, a performance isn't just a role. It's a revolution. There's something magnetic about Wanwimol Jaenasavamethee, or June, that goes beyond her striking features and cool girl charm. Born in 2000, she rose to fame as a teenage starlet, carving her name into the hearts of fans with soft-spoken interviews, confident energy, and a gaze that always seemed to hold back something more. But in 2024, everything changed. June stepped into the role of Engfa in 23.5, a groundbreaking GL series that didn't just entertain, it cracked open an entire conversation. In 23.5, June played a schoolgirl who falls in love with her classmate, softly, slowly, with all the awkward honesty of a first crush. She didn't play the role like it was a novelty. She played it like it was hers. Her chemistry with co-star Milk Pantsa made headlines, launched fanships, and ignited a wave of sapphic storytelling in Thai media. But beyond the fan edits and trend hashtags, something deeper resonated. There was nuance, there was care, and there was representation that, for once, didn't feel like a gimmick. This wasn't June's first venture into queer narratives. From music videos to fashion shoots, she had quietly gravitated toward projects that celebrated gender fluidity, identity, and freedom of expression. And yet, she never said the words. She never declared a label. No public announcement, no social media post. But sometimes, silence isn't avoidance. Sometimes it's protection. Or perhaps, it's power. Fans watched as she embraced roles that reflected queer lives with grace and responsibility. She attended Pride events, supported LGBTQ+ causes through her partnerships, and continued taking on work that pushed boundaries in a region where such stories are still met with hesitation. Through her characters, she carved space for queerness to exist. Not loudly, not sensationally, but truthfully. And that quiet commitment? It meant everything to viewers searching for reflections of themselves. June may not have spoken publicly about her sexuality, but her career speaks volumes. Each role, each project, each intentional step into LGBTQ+ narratives becomes a thread in the larger tapestry of change. She doesn't need to explain herself. Because maybe the goal isn't to prove anything, but to simply be. And isn't there something powerful in that? In choosing to stand in the light, not for validation, but for visibility? When June smiles in an interview and sidesteps a question about ideal type, when she plays a queer character with such care that it brings audiences to tears, it makes you wonder, how many young girls are out there silently watching, finally seeing themselves? How many felt seen, not because she gave them an answer, but because she showed them a world where they existed in full color? Not every revolution is loud. Some unfold in silence, in stolen glances on screen, in a character's hesitation before saying, "I love you," or in the quiet dignity of an actress who never quite gives an answer. Sarunchana Apisamaimongkol, better known as Oaey, is one of those enigmas. Born in 1999, she entered Thai entertainment with the poise of a seasoned performer and the subtle charm that draws you in without trying. Over the years, Oaey became known not for chasing headlines, but for choosing roles that mattered. And some of those roles, they weren't just romantic. They were revolutionary. As the Thai media space began exploring sapphic stories with more depth and visibility, Oaey was there, front and center. Whether it was a supporting part in a GL web series, or a lead in a university-set romance about unspoken love between two women. She brought tenderness and restraint to every performance. She made it feel real. And when something feels that real, it's only natural for audiences to wonder, where does the character end and the person begin? But here's the thing. Oaey has never said it. No interviews, no social media posts, no candid live stream moments like others in her generation. Her Instagram is carefully curated, her interviews polite and precise. When asked about relationships, she shifts the topic with a warm laugh, or answers with just enough ambiguity to fuel another month of speculation. There's a kind of power in that, refusing to be pinned down, but also a kind of mystery that fans can't help but try to unravel. Some call it queerbaiting, others call it privacy. But in a landscape where LGBTQ+ representation is still finding its footing, Oaey walks a delicate line, choosing scripts that speak volumes, while saying very little herself. And yet, for those watching closely, the impact is undeniable. Her work has become a mirror, one that reflects not her own identity, but the longing, the searching, and the quiet hope of an entire community that still doesn't see itself enough on screen. When Oaey plays a girl who falls for another girl, it's not done for laughs or titillation. It's done with intention. There's something soft in the way she holds another actress's gaze, something brave in the way her voice shakes just slightly during a confession scene. And for viewers, especially young women discovering their own identities, those moments aren't just acting. They're oxygen. So what happens when someone keeps giving the community pieces of themselves, but never the whole picture? Does it diminish the impact, or does it add to the magic? Perhaps Oaey's silence isn't absence, it's protection. Perhaps she knows the risks, or perhaps she's still figuring it out herself. And isn't that okay too? Not everyone needs to carry a flag to make change. Some do it by simply existing, by choosing stories that challenge norms, and by portraying queer love as something sacred and ordinary at the same time. Sarunchana may not have spoken her truth out loud, but she's helped thousands speak theirs. And maybe that, in its own quiet, powerful way, is just as meaningful. There's something magnetic about Freen Sarocha Chankimha, an energy that pulls you in without effort, a quiet confidence that doesn't demand attention but earns it anyway. Freen didn't follow the traditional path of pageants or pop stardom. Instead, she rose through the ranks of Thai entertainment with one of the most devoted fan bases in the GL community. Her claim to fame? A lead role in a sapphic series that took Asia by storm, Gap, the series. And from that moment on, Freen wasn't just an actress, she became a symbol. In Gap, Freen played a woman unapologetically in love with another woman, breaking barriers in a region where such love stories are still whispered, not shouted. Her performance was more than just chemistry on screen. It was layered, intentional, full of restraint and emotional depth. Fans felt seen, understood, and celebrated. For many, she wasn't just playing a character, she was holding a mirror to identities long left out of the narrative. As the show gained global traction, so did the curiosity. Who is Freen outside of these roles? Does she identify with the stories she tells? On red carpets and in interviews, she remained poised, friendly, and diplomatic. She expressed support for LGBTQ+ fans, but never offered personal labels, no direct statements, no definitive answers. Just gratitude, charm, and an open door that somehow always stopped just short of confirmation. It's a line many actors walk, especially in Southeast Asia, where visibility can be both powerful and dangerous. For Freen, the strategy seems clear. Let the work speak louder than the identity. And so she continues, taking on queer-coded roles, attending pride-themed events, and building a career that elevates GL storytelling. But to this day, there is no public record of Freen self-identifying as part of the LGBTQ+ community. Just performances that feel deeply intentional, and a connection to her audience that transcends labels. For some fans, that's enough. For others, it's a source of endless speculation. Is it coy branding or cautious privacy? Is she protecting her personal life or playing it safe in an industry still hesitant about queerness in the spotlight? These questions linger, unanswered, but perhaps they don't need to be. What's undeniable is the emotional impact Freen leaves behind. In scenes where she holds another woman's hand, there's tenderness. In every glance, there's weight. Her portrayal of love, without shame, without hesitation, has given thousands a voice. And maybe, in a world still negotiating who gets to be out, representation itself is a form of quiet activism. So now, we turn the spotlight to you. Of the 12 women in this journey, whose story stayed with you the longest, whose truth, spoken or unspoken, moves something deep within you. And can you add suggestions for me, your favorite people, so we can prepare for the next videos? Which Thai star shocked fans with just 5 words? I am queer. Be proud. From viral coming out posts to sapphic series that broke the internet, these 12 women changed how Thailand and the world sees queer beauty. Some shared their truth boldly. Others let their art speak volumes. So which one left you speechless? Comment your favorite and help us shine a light on their courage.